Hi, I'm Deb. I'm the Traveling Stocking Stitcher, and this is my channel where I show you things that I stitch that are either travel related or stocking related. I like to travel, and I like to stitch things that remind me of those things. We've got a lot of those today. We're calling today's episode My Stitching is All Over the Map, because I've got stitching that represents 5 different countries today. We have the Netherlands, we have France, we have Italy, we have Spain, we have Denmark. I'm going to throw a fancy lady in there for you too. I've had a little bit of startitis, as you can tell. So I've been stitching a lot of different things, but again, probably travel related primarily. So let's get started. I didn't intend for this episode to be this. I was planning to show you some finishes. I was going to finish a bunch of stuff and show that to you, but that's a whole nother story. Bought the wrong thing, and there was a little bit of sloth involved in there where I just didn't feel like doing it, and so maybe next episode we'll get around to doing that. So I kind of had to pivot a little bit, so no fun facts, anything like that. I just kind of had to put this together and show you the things I've been stitching on for the last month or so. First up, I did get one fully finished project done, and this is Amsterdam. This is Amsterdam Street. This is representing the Netherlands, and this is an anchor kit. It's kind of showing aqua, but it's a light blue color. It's the kit fabric. And it's a 16 count Aida, and it's last I showed it to you, I was bemoaning the fact that I hadn't been checking off the list of the confetti I had down here. There's a lot of half stitches and sometimes using 1 strand versus 2 strand, and I may have missed a few spots where there were little not even a quarter stitch where you do the one in the middle with the half strand there. So I got it in a frame. It's all ready to go here, and I had to finish up the tent stitching up at the top since the last time you saw that. So there it all is. I like to put some batting underneath it. This one, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of puffier than usual. I just happened to grab a bag that was an extra loft, and so I kind of like that it's got a little heavier content. I said I was fully finished. I didn't really glue it down in the back. I just took the mat that was in here, and coincidentally it just happens to be the Eiffel Tower was the generic art that was in the frame. So found this somewhere, thrift store somewhere, but I'll just glue that down when I finish the other things. I was too lazy to get my glue gun out. So that is Amsterdam. Next up is one of the French ones, and this is called Medieval Fleur-de-lis is the name of it on the Etsy website. It's from the Visitors. Vivienne Powers is the designer. You know I love her designs. This is probably the 6th one that I've been working on from her. I've got 3 of them just to show you today. And this is probably the first one that I had seen of hers. And when I saw it, I immediately knew where it came from. Even though it's called Medieval Fleur-de-lis, it is a floor tile in the Church of Sainte-Chapelle that has beautiful stained glass windows. And I'll go into more detail when I do my actual French episode, because I like to do episodes based on the different countries, and I've got a France one coming up, and so you're going to see a lot of French. I've got 3 French things to do today. I've got some more planned, but I'll go into the detail of why those are important to me in that episode. But just want to show you my progress so far. But when I saw this, I knew that I wanted to do it in the colors that look like the floor tile. This is what her design looks like. This is what the floor tile looked like. And so I took the colors that I wanted to use and wanted to do a floss toss. I was having trouble picking a fabric color. So here's a tip for you. If you don't like working on black fabric, don't ever do a floss toss on black fabric, because that's what you'll end up working on, because everything looks better on black fabric. Why is that? It just pops right off the fabric. So actually it's been going pretty well. So, and I don't really mind stitching on black fabric that much. This is a 32 count black Lugana from Zweigart, and this is what I've got so far. It's 53.1% complete, and get something to put behind it. Here's what I have so far. Now the other thing that I'm doing with this is I've converted it to sulky threads. There's only, 4 colors because I'm not stitching the black. So places where there is black, I'm going to leave that just be the fabric. It's going to give it a little bit more dimension, I think, as well. And I'm really liking how the gold and the black looks. I'm almost hesitant to fill in the colors because I like the black against the gold, or the gold against the black so well. But there'll be a perimeter around the outside, and then there's more on the interior. But I've got the fleur-de-lis done, at least, in the middle and around it. So these are my sulky. I decided to use sulky colors. So we've got the goldish one is called Flax. We've got Bayberry Red, and we've got, coincidentally, French Green. And this one is called, what? Dark Periwinkle is the blue I'm going to go with in the center. So that's how far we've got so far. And really enjoy working on that. The sulky threads I'd never really used before, and I'm using 1 strand, so I really like how it lays flat, and you don't have the 2-strand messier look. So you can see that things are really looking real tidy. And economically, you're using 1 strand instead of 2 strands. I've calculated out the price for DMC versus sulky, and it ends up being a penny different per yard. So it's not very significant at all. So maybe a quarter per skein you're spending extra on it. So, but I really like how it's going. Now, I tried using it in something else since it's not an all-purpose. Well, it could be an all-purpose, but for some reason it's working much better on this fabric and this design than one of the other ones I'm going to show you. So, not that it's bad, but it's just it's performing a little bit differently. And I think it's just the fabric that it's on. So, like I said, this is on a 32 count even weave. So next up is, again, another Vivsters. And I don't have that much done yet. This one's about, I think, 18% done. And I'm just going to leave it in the Q-snap because you can see everything you need to, and it's going to hold it a little bit better frame-wise. So this one's called Parisian Window. And again, by the Vivsters. And it's on 18 count white. And this is what I have so far. So it's a window, and you're going to see the outline. It's kind of a suggested outline of the Eiffel Tower that you'll see on there as well. So one of the things that I like, well, several of the things that I like about the Vivsters, it's always full stitches. I don't think I've ever seen a fractional stitch in her stuff. Minimal amount of colors, so it's good for traveling. So if you have to go someplace, you don't have to take a huge amount of things along with you. It's full coverage, and I don't mind full coverage. I like doing bigger projects like this. It's almost, and I think I may have used this in another Flosstube, but the analogy of I'd rather read a novel than a short story. I like to get into the characters and the plot and all that kind of stuff, where if you do smalls, they're over so quick. And you have to finish them too, but that's a side point. But I like working on a longer project and spending some time with it. But I don't always like full coverage, big, huge tapestries that people do that take years to do and have tons of confetti. This is almost, a lot of block stitching, which is fine. I don't mind doing block stitching. Some people it really bothers them. But for me, if I'm watching TV and I kind of want to pay attention a little bit, doing block stitching is fine with me. That's great. So I don't mind, doing a full coverage piece in those kinds of situations. And also the pixelation, I like the big, bold, solid blocks as opposed to the little more confetti-looking pixelated images you get with some of the full coverage things. So that's kind of one of the appeals, I think, that she has. And I think her color choices are fabulous, and her design and her just very, I just really gravitate to her designs. So that's where this is at. Oh, I was going to talk about the Sulky. On the Sulky, I used the black Sulky on here. Since I ended up using black fabric on that one, I didn't need the black Sulky I was going to use for that design. So I used it for the wrought iron railing. And then I decided, just because on the 18 count, I don't know, it was just not pulling through as well, and it doesn't seem like it's not bad coverage, but a little bit of spottiness in there. But I also have found I like the Anchor black versus the DMC black, so that's what I've got over here. And I'm finding it just seems to be a richer black color, and it just fills in so nicely. I love her, you know, just these two different greens against the black, just is so bold. And yeah, just gorgeous. I'm saving the color part in here. I've done the greenery, but I haven't put the flowers in there. That's my little treat to myself when I get things done. So that's my second France or Paris one. And then the third one is one from this is called, I think it's just called Paris Silhouette. I don't know if you even had what the name was. It was kind of a generic name, but it's from Zephyr Mood on Etsy, and they had two very similar ones. One was this one, which is kind of a twilight-looking design that has the skyline, the monuments, the landmarks of Paris that you would see, and they had another one with the big moon over it. And I'll show both of those to you here. But I like the wording under the one that had the moon. I like the letterings that it says Paris, France underneath it. So I'm going to do the one with the twilight and put the Paris, France underneath it. That's what I think I'm going to do. So this one is about 25.06%, about 25.06. And it is done on, I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this one. It's okay, and it didn't take long to stitch. It's stitching up real quick. But I don't know if it's the fabric I chose. I'll just show you. So, I'm going to put this in front of it. The fabric is called, right on 1, 2, 3 stitch, it's called, it's a 28 count Spring Watercolors Linen from Fabric Flare. And the DMC equivalent, it says, it's actually a printed, I think they said. It's 23, 24, 828, and 800 DMC equivalents, which are blue, pink, and lavender. And when I was picking colors, I thought, well, I want something, I don't want to use necessarily white, and I don't want to use black, and so I saw this and I thought, well, maybe a pastel-y color, because there are some purples. I've got a lot of blues in here right now, but there are going to be some purples. But it was very odd, because you see this line right down here? It's printed, but this is all just white over here, and this is the printed part. It said something, I must not have read very closely, it said something about 9 panels of this pretty pastel print on each cut. And so apparently there are 9 panels. It must have been for some sort of sal where you did 9 different pieces. I know Tiny Artist often does some of those things, so that's all I can guess. But it also is a little bit rough. I noticed that the fabric or the floss is fraying a little bit, so I have to use a little shorter stitches. So that's what I have so far. Again, it's kind of a pixelated thing. When I get it filled in, I think it'll look better. It's going okay. You can see, you can barely tell that there's any sort of color there. And if it weren't for this line here, you wouldn't be able to tell at all. But I can see where the purple ends and the white begins. So we'll see. When you watch my France episode, if this is in there, you'll know if I finished it or not. And let's see. Next up, just a minimal amount of progress on this one, but something I stitched on. We went to, despite the fact that I'm showing you all these exotic travel locations, the only place we've been to lately is Mankato, Minnesota, about an hour and a half southwest of the Twin Cities, and there was a show down there we wanted to see, so we decided to do an overnight trip kind of spontaneously, booked it a couple days out, and drove down. We like to go to thrift stores, so we stopped at a number of thrift stores along the way, so it's kind of hard to stitch in the car, because every 20 minutes you're getting out of the car and stopping and going to a thrift shop. Stayed at this fabulous little B&B. It's this old Victorian house that had been just beautifully restored by a couple. We had the whole place to ourselves. It was a Thursday or a Wednesday, I forget. And so the couple lives like a block away, and so we had the whole entire gorgeous house by ourselves. So yeah, it was a fun little day trip, or overnight trip to go down there and come back. And but I did do a little stitching. This is one you've seen a little bit before. This one is just a Denmark map. This is also, I believe, from, I didn't write this down, but I think this might also be from Zephyr Mood. I'll put it in the notes below if that's not the case. So it's been a while you've seen this, but I think I did some of the windows in here, and this is a good one because it's 14 count red Ada, big holes, easy to see, not a lot of colors, and at the bottom I'm going to do a Danish map, which is white cross on red. That's why it's on red fabric. So that is Denmark. And next place we're going to go is Spain. Now this is another Bibster's one, and there is a sale going on. I've been looking at their maps. She's got different countries' maps, and she's got a whole slew of them now. I mean, not even countries, she's got cities. She had a region in Austria that I'd never even heard of. I had to look it up on Google Maps. But there's also a sale that's going on, and it's called 2024 Quaker Flag Sale. 2024 Quaker Flag Sale. And it is being hosted by Gail at Wombat Hollow Crafts, and also by Nicole at Darvaline Design Studio. And it's being promoted by Carolyn Sullivan, who is the Flosstube Stitcher. And so I've been looking at these anyway and thinking about doing them, and then this sale came along and thought, well, maybe this is the incentive. My problem with doing this one is I like to do travel posters. I like to put them in 11 by 14 frames so they're all uniform in size. Well, these flags are actually longer than you would expect a flag to look like. They've got some extra, but they're all in Quaker blocks. And so I started looking at it and trying to figure out, how can I do this? I figured if I could take off and still make it look like a flag, I could do it and take off like 5 rows, I think it was 4 or 5 rows off the end. I write it down. Yeah, so instead of 410 stitches across, which is a lot of stitching, I've got it down to 287 rows across, and that will barely fit it into an 11-inch wide frame if, and this is the big if, this is the other reason I hesitated, I do it on 28 count 1/1. Now, I've done like 1/1 skin, which is on a Fancy Lady on the lavender lace things, and it's not fun. Everybody will tell you it's not fun, but it's also a little different there because you're having to do 4 stitches instead of 1 stitch for every 1 stitch because you're converting it down compared to the other stitches on the thing. This would be, all of it would be over 1, which for better for worse. So you don't have to worry about doing the 4 stitches to 1 thing on the design. The other problem I had with that is it also wants to pull under a little bit. Now I was doing it on linen, and I'm having a little bit of better luck on even weave because it's not pulling under the waft or the what are they? The waft and the weave. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's not pulling through because I was having to do like a continental stitch, and that would use a ton of thread, and plus it would be, I don't know, just really bulky. I decided I was going to use Sulky threads on this for better or worse. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I would have been better off using 1 strand of DMC instead of the Sulky because it might look a little bit crowded. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Sulky Christmas Red and Sun Yellow to do the Spanish flag. And I chose this one because I was kind of attracted to the Union Jack of England, or the United Kingdom, but because it's got the X, if I lopped off any on the one side, it was going to look truncated, it was going to look weird. So I had to take something that had anything but stripes on the end. Now there is a coat of arms field in there, which kind of attracted me to it too. It wasn't just the Quaker stuff. So I'm going to do that. And by eliminating, actually, this is, like I said, pretty big. It was 47,982 stitches, so banging on the door on 50,000 stitches. I've taken out 12,293, which is almost a quarter of the design, over a quarter of the design, 25.6%. And still means I've got 35,689 stitches to do. But this is the meager little start I have. Oh, I'm showing the back. So that's what I have. Now the other tricky thing about over one is not so much about putting the stitches in, it's taking the stitches out. If you make a mistake, frogging is really, really hard. So I'm trying to go really slow, be very cautious, be very careful. So yeah, this is what, 0.3% complete, 116 stitches. That's all we got so far. So, but I think what I'll do is, like I said, I'll do the DMC crest, the crest in DMC, it'll be 1 over 1, but I think I may just do it over 2 at the bottom to fill out the travel poster. So I'll just do the crest in a bigger size by doing it over 2 at the bottom. So that's it, because I'm guessing it's going to be a little hard to see. So that's the plan for right now. One more country to visit before we move on, and this is Italy. This is my Venice chatelaine, chatelaine designed by the sadly departed Martina Rosenberg, but she does these beautiful round mandalas. A lot of them are of different places, and this one is Venice. And I haven't done a ton of work since the last time. Let's see, I think I should be doing it. This is technically, this is the right direction, I think, here. So, last time you saw it, I didn't have, I've got this light pole here, lamppost, and I've got the start of this box here. Now, this I attribute to my startitis, because I didn't follow my own good intentions. So here's a tip of advice for you. What I intended to do is do each piece. So, you know, you do the middle square, and then you do the perimeter around there, and then they give you a bank of windows to do. And, you know, you got the Rialto Bridge. Now I have to do all these things multiple times. There's four bridges. And so what I was thinking of doing is I would do each piece. Okay, I do the bridge. I do the 4 bridges before I moved on and did the lampposts and do the 8 lampposts that are all around. But I got up here and I thought, well, maybe I'll just see how this looks if I do this one over here next. And what if I do these guys over here? And so basically from here on up, it's all done. So now everything I do is repeat. And so I think that's because there's no new frontiers for me. I enjoy stitching on this. I love stitching on it. It's almost relaxing. I was intimidated, as everybody is, but it's just stitching. It's not complicated. You're working with some silks and stuff, which is always fun and easy to stitch with. There's some specialty stitches that aren't too challenging, and it's beautiful. But, you know, you want to start stitching the next new thing. So I got to get back on the horse with this. Got to get back into my schedule of stitching something in the morning, different thing in the afternoon, and then my chatelaine in the evening to ward off the problems that I have. So that is our travel portion. I promised you a fancy lady. And here she is. I showed you part of this last time. And this is Winter White Christmas from Nora Corbett. It's Mirabilia. And oops, let me just get my Q-snap off the bottom here. So, the last time I showed you this, I was worried about the pink. It seemed very pink for a Christmas-themed thing. But here she is. And it's looking better. So here I had this bright bubblegum pink right here. And now that we've got some purples, we've got some golds and some browns and some, you know, more reddish colors filling in. These are all where the beads are going to go, these empty spots. I'm feeling much more confident about it. I haven't touched this one for a while because I've been working on the France stuff. This one is, I don't have, oh yeah, I don't have the percentage on this because I don't have this in Pattern Keeper, so can't tell you. My chatelaine is an estimate. I have it in Pattern Keeper, but they're in pieces, so I'm thinking it's about 50, almost 58%, so I don't have that much left to go. So, but this is 32 count pistachio fiber on a whim, and it is a linen. And one of the things I have seen, I don't know if I mentioned this when I showed it last time or not, I saw a design where they did the windows all in black, and it looked really cool. Well, I went back and looked at it a second time, and I don't know if it looks like that much stitching worth a cool. I don't know. It didn't impress me as much as the first time, so it was really good fun. The first time I saw it, I thought, oh, ooh, I need to do that, and now I'm not so keyed up on that. So there is my Mirabilia. I have one other thing I can't show you. I have a small exchange for a retreat I'm coming up to, so I did that this month as well. I'll make a video of it and show it to you before I do the giveaway, but like I said, that's later on in the year, so I can't show you that just yet. So, Flosstube recommendations. I do have a timely recommendation. If you've heard the 2024 Nashville Needlework market releases, they have a trade show in Nashville every year where a lot of the designers premiere their year's releases that they will be offering. And so it's a big deal. People put it out, and there's hundreds of designs that come out every year on this. And so I caught this last year, and she did it again this year. It's Carolyn Zook of Z Zook Stitches, and she does basically what I consider a public service. She goes through and spends, last year was, I think it was 4+ hours. This year is about 3.5 hours, or 3 hours and 15 minutes. And she goes through and marches through the web page and clicks on every one and gives you the rundown for as much information as the designer provided about what the stitch size is, and maybe use specialty threads, and what the cost is, and those kinds of things. So you can see everything that is coming up for market. Now, like I said, you could do this on your own, but she's willing to sit there and talk and drive for 3 hours. You know, all you have to do is sit back and stitch and look up occasionally. So it's really, you know, hands-free surfing of the net. So thank you, Carolyn, for providing that wonderful service so that we all don't have to do it. So you can just enjoy your stitching and kind of browse through and order up whatever you want and stop whenever you need to write something down. Now, they do often, I've noticed the last couple of years, maybe this is always the case, but they tend to skew a lot more sampler things, which I don't do a lot of sampler stuff, but if that's in your wheelhouse, you know, take the time and watch it. I mean, I found some things that I thought were cute as well, but if you're really into samplers, you need to sit and watch the hour and a half, or excuse me, the 3-hour video of what's coming up in the market release. So if you want to pre-order, you can do that as well. So that's what I have for today. As always, liking my video helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and if you enjoyed it, I appreciate that. If you'd like to subscribe, that would be fantastic. Leave a comment if you'd like, and feel free to share with others. So thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you again next time, when maybe I'll have some fully finished things done. Maybe I'll have more France things done. Who knows? So we'll see you later. Thanks for coming. Bye.